When David was born, his billionaire father denied him, calling him a mistake. His mother passed away shortly after childbirth, and the boy grew up on the unforgiving streets, feeding on hope, rejection, and leftover dreams. David's first cry echoed in a cold hospital room, not met with warmth or celebration, but rejection. His mother, a struggling tailor named Grace, lay weak and breathless, clutching the newborn boy. Standing beside her, billionaire tycoon Mr. Jackson stared at the baby like he was a plague. "I told you to get rid of it," he snapped. Grace whispered, "He's your son. Love him, please." But Jackson turned his back, left the hospital, and never returned. Hours later, Grace kicked the bucket. With no relatives to take him, baby David was tossed into the city's broken foster care system. His only inheritance? A name his father denied, and a world that had already given up on him. Before we continue, imagine being born and the first person to reject you is your own father. If that already hurts, hit that subscribe button right now. If not, comment why you're heartless enough to ignore a child's pain. David was passed from one toxic foster home to another. He learned quickly how to defend himself, not just from fists, but from hunger, loneliness, and the invisible pain of being unwanted. At age 7, he ran away, choosing the streets over cages that called themselves homes. He slept in abandoned buses, bathed in rainwater, and sold pure water in traffic for survival. His eyes, once bright, turned heavy, but never hopeless. He watched children of his age go to school, holding their father's hands. He couldn't help but wonder, what did I do to deserve this? One day, while wiping windshields at a traffic light, a convoy stopped beside him. Behind the tinted window sat Mr. Jackson, the same man who left him on his own. David stared at him. Jackson looked back and didn't recognize his own son. A cyber cafe owner named Mr. Kenneth took a liking to David. He let him sweep the cafe and, in return, gave him 10 minutes daily on a dusty computer. David fell in love with tech. He taught himself HTML, YouTube tutorials, and code basics using stolen minutes and cracked software. This cafe became his real school. He watched motivational videos of self-made entrepreneurs, saved every naira from his street jobs, and spent nights writing in a borrowed notebook. While others chased gangs and quick money, David chased knowledge. "One day," he whispered, "I'll build something bigger than all of them." You're watching this right now because you believe in second chances, right? Then subscribe before the algorithm forgets you ever cared. And if you won't subscribe, at least comment your reason. Let the world judge your heart. When Mr. Kenneth passed away in a bus accident, David was 14 and alone again. The cafe closed. His hope dimmed. But Kenneth had left him something, an old laptop, wrapped in cloth with a note. "You were the son I never had. Keep building." David fixed the broken charger, carried it like treasure, and worked under bridges using public Wi-Fi. He started building websites for local businesses at throwaway prices, earning respect from street vendors and kiki drivers alike. His story was still invisible, but the fire was burning louder than ever. David saved money to apply for a youth tech fellowship. His idea was simple but powerful. A mobile app to help low-income families access free medical care information. He pitched it to dozens of companies. One finally called him in. Irony struck. It was JXN Holdings, a tech conglomerate owned by his father. He didn't know. They didn't care. His presentation was brushed off, not because it was weak, but because he looked like a street boy. Mr. Jackson saw him again. Still no recognition. If you've ever been judged for your appearance, hit that subscribe button. If you never have, you're lucky. Comment below and tell us how privilege feels. David vented his frustration on Twitter. "I just got rejected by a billion-dollar company for not wearing a suit. What they didn't know was, I own the code they'll steal next year." The tweet blew up. Thousands reshared. Influencers rallied. A journalist dug deeper and uncovered his past and the eerie coincidence of his connection to JXN Holdings. Someone leaked old photos, a baby, a mother, a death certificate. People began to whisper, could David be Mr. Jackson's hidden son? And now, the world was watching. An old nurse came forward. She had retired long ago but remembered Grace vividly. She handed David a letter, written by his mother hours before her passing away. David, if you ever read this, know your father was powerful, but he was afraid. You are not a mistake. You are my light. David wept. His tears weren't weak. They were fuel, and that night he swore, I will become the storm that exposes every coward who ever walked away from their own blood. The viral fame earned him a spot in the same incubator that once rejected him, this time by popular demand. He was assigned to a mentor and given a challenge: build a real-world tech solution in 3 weeks. David worked day and night eating noodles, coding through nosebleeds, surviving on grit. His app, a healthcare assistant for low-data environments, was miles ahead of others. Final pitch day approached, and sitting on the judge's panel, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson watched the presentations with cold detachment until David stepped forward. Something about the boy froze him. The name, the voice, the eyes. David didn't flinch. He pitched like a soldier on his last breath, every line sharp, every point real. The room erupted in applause, but Jackson leaned over and whispered to another judge, disqualify him. I won't endorse trash. Imagine your own father sabotaging your success. If you think blood doesn't always mean family, hit subscribe. And if you disagree, comment why betrayal should be forgiven. One of the judges, an old rival of Jackson, had suspected something. He ordered a private DNA test without David knowing. Results: 99.9% match. The news leaked. David was indeed Mr. Jackson's son. The internet exploded. By morning, every blog, newspaper, and radio station screamed the headline, Billionaire Jackson denied his own son. DNA confirms street boy is his blood. Photos of baby David side by side with the now-grown tech prodigy flooded the internet. The scandal sent JXN Holdings stock crashing. Mr. Jackson locked himself in his penthouse, refusing interviews. His PR team begged him to issue a statement. But David? He stayed silent. He wasn't chasing fame. He wanted justice, not revenge, but recognition. He turned down interview deals, brand offers, and influencer invites. I didn't come here to be famous, he said. I came here to build. A protest started outside JXN Towers. Apologize to David. Blood is thicker than pride. Sponsors withdrew. Investors pulled out. Jackson was summoned by the board. The company issued a forced apology, but the public wasn't buying it. Jackson finally agreed to an interview. I didn't know the boy was mine, he said on live TV, and even if he is, not everyone is fit to be a father. The crowd watching hissed. David was invited to respond. He looked into the camera and said, If I am what a rejected son looks like, imagine what I'd have become if I had been loved. How many Davids are walking the streets today, unloved, unseen, and unheard? If this story touches you even a little, hit the subscribe button. And if you still won't, tell us in the comments, do you fear healing or are you just numb to pain? After the scandal, David received an anonymous letter. Meet me at 8 p.m., Westbridge Cemetery. Bring no cameras. He hesitated, but curiosity won. At the graveyard, a black SUV waited. Inside, Mr. Jackson, alone. I buried your mother here. That's the only thing I ever did right by her, he said. David didn't speak. Jackson continued, I can't change the past, but I want to start over. David's voice shook. You think forgiveness is a switch? You think I'm some project you can fix now that the world's watching? He turned his back and walked away. The incubator's board, under pressure from JXN Holdings, planned to revoke David's award, claiming bias due to publicity. But a whistleblower leaked the internal memo. The internet erupted again. They're trying to silence the street boy. Influential tech founders, musicians, and politicians rallied behind David. He was offered independent funding. His app launched on Google Play in 3 countries within 24 hours. He didn't just go viral, he became a movement. Jackson was offered 2 choices by his board: step down as CEO to save the company, or fight and risk losing everything. For once, the proud man broke down. He confessed privately to a friend. "I built an empire but destroyed my own legacy. The one person who could carry it, I treated like trash." David's app hit 1 million downloads. International press called him Africa's Steve Jobs from the streets. But amidst the glory, he was restless. One morning, he showed up at JXN Towers uninvited. Security tried to stop him, but a senior board member waved him in. He stood before the board. "I'm not here to take revenge. I'm here to take responsibility for my name." He didn't want his father's money. He didn't want the empire. He only asked for one thing: "Let me build something that outlives both of us." This is the kind of story most people scroll past, until it's too late. If you're still watching, it means you were meant to. So subscribe. And if not, go to the comments. Tell us if it's pride, ego, or just fear of caring. Mr. Jackson tried to reconcile again, but this time, he brought gifts: a house, a car, a trust fund. David refused them all. "I needed you to show up when I had nothing. Now that I have everything, you think a car equals fatherhood?" Jackson finally broke. "Then what do you want from me?" David whispered. "To see me. Just once. Not as a threat to your image, but as your son." Silence. Then, for the first time, Jackson said, "I'm sorry." David started a foundation, the Unseen Sons, for abandoned kids. The first orphanage opened in the same street he used to sleep on. He hired teachers, coders, psychologists. Every child there received something he never had: a chance. And the first speech he gave at the orphanage shook the internet. "Your pain doesn't define you, it prepares you. Let them reject you. Just never reject yourself." Mr. Jackson resigned as CEO. He donated half his wealth anonymously to David's foundation, but he never sought credit. Years later, he was seen standing in the back of one of David's tech conferences, hidden among the crowd, tears in his eyes. He still couldn't say it publicly, but privately, he wrote David a final note. "I was wrong. You were never a mistake. You were the best thing I ever created." David's story was adapted into films, books, and classrooms, but he remained humble. "I'm not a hero," he always said. "I'm just the result of what happens when pain meets purpose. And if my story means something to you, don't clap, don't cry. Go love someone who's been forgotten. Sometimes the people who reject you are the ones who need you most." David didn't just win the world, he won himself. And in doing so, he healed the scar that almost defined him. This story has probably touched you in ways words can't explain. So why pretend? If you're still not subscribed after this, explain in the comments. What part of your heart is refusing to heal? Subscribe. Not just for David, but for every broken boy still waiting to be seen. Dear viewers, you just heard a story that carries a powerful lesson. One that could change someone's life, open a mind, or heal a heart. But if you walk away without liking, sharing, or subscribing, it's like silencing the voice of our ancestors who passed down these tales. Don't let their wisdom fade. Don't be the reason the next person never hears this message. Like, share, subscribe. Let the story live on. Thank you for watching.